I actually made a bunch of games with no previous game dev experience, so listen up. I had zero experience making games. No coding knowledge, no 3D knowledge, no game design knowledge, nothing except my graphic and web design background. But today I'm developing my own indie games, and in this video I'm going to show you how I got there by accident and what you need to do if you want to make a game with no experience. And trust me, this is not just generic inspirational advice like you need motivation and dedication and a dream kind of thing. Well, I mean, you do need those things too, but I'll try to give you concrete examples of my journey and actionable advice on how you can get started. I didn't start out trying to make a game. I was just curious. I wanted to see if I could create a 3D scene with Adobe software to teach my students something new and different. So I started researching, and just like you, I hopped on YouTube and started looking at videos, and that's when I stumbled across Quixel, entirely by accident. And in that video, it explained that Quixel was a plugin or an extension for downloading free high-resolution 3D assets for a certain game engine called Unreal Engine. You may have heard about it. I downloaded it just to mess around, and then something weird happened. It reminded me of my childhood making maps in Valve Hammer for Counter-Strike 1.6. Okay, so maybe I'm showing my age here, but CS 1.6 was an ancestor of the now famous CSGO. And back then, the multiplayer shooter had a big mapping community, which me and my brother were a part of. Building a 3D scene in Unreal was, for me, like nostalgia overload. I was just having fun, placing objects, creating random landscapes, experimenting, But that curiosity pulled me deeper. I started asking questions like, how do I make objects move, and how can I add interactions? And that's how I kind of just fell into game development. Curiosity is the spark. If you're even slightly interested in making games, just start messing around. Just explore and see where it takes you. But it's important to note that you should take time to ask yourself why you want to do that. My first advice to you is have a reason to be curious. Curiosity is what gets you started, but having a reason to be curious is what keeps you going. Whether it's wanting to bring an idea to life, or learning how your favorite games are made, or just proving to yourself that you can do it, when your curiosity has a purpose, you won't just explore, you'll actually build something. Once I realized that I wanted to try making a game, I made a huge mistake. I tried to make something way too big, and that's where most beginners fail. They start thinking about their quote-unquote dream game instead of just learning the basics. I learned this the hard way with my first project, SideQuest. I never finished it, but this game is where everything clicked for me. I spent years doing Unreal tutorials, trying to figure everything out. Then one day, I could just kind of see the code, kind of like in the Matrix.
You get used to it. I don't even see the code. All I see is blonde, brunette, redhead.
That's when I finally understood how to actually break down a game. So instead of thinking about the whole game, I broke it down into small systems. Make a map of the world, create an inventory system, and develop a fighting system. Each of these was something I could follow a YouTube tutorial for. I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I just had to mash them together, and it wasn't pretty, and it wasn't the next Zelda, but it gave me confidence, and that was the most important thing. So my second advice for aspiring game designers and developers is start by following small tutorials for individual systems, and don't waste them. Mash them together to make a small working game, even if it takes you years. So once I had the basics down, I started my next project, Pally. I made this game to propose to my girlfriend, by the way. Remember what I said about having a goal? This time, something incredible happened. She said yes. But, I didn't need tutorials anymore. I could just, build. I actually understood how games worked and could problem solve on my own. But learning by doing also means failing a lot. I made terrible design decisions, broke my game 100 times, and spent hours debugging things. And that's the point. The best way to learn game development isn't just by watching tutorials endlessly. Eventually, you have to try, fail, rinse, and repeat. Trying something to see if it's worth pursuing is a process known as prototyping. The ability to quickly bring your ideas to life is invaluable. To do this effectively, pick an engine and stick with it. By becoming proficient in one environment, you will eventually be able to prototype game ideas in a day or two. Industry professional Jonas Tyroller, who made the indie hit Thronefall, suggested that if you can prototype a game in 2 days, it will probably take you 2 years to polish it into a shippable game. So imagine if it takes you 30 days to prototype something. Developing the game could take a lifetime. Yeesh. So this is my third tip. Rapid prototyping allows you to test concepts quickly, identify what works, and pivot when necessary. It's a skill that not only saves time, but also enhances creativity by encouraging experimentation without significant time investment. Game development isn't just about coding and mechanics. It's a combination of many creative disciplines. The more skills you have outside of development, the more control you'll have over your game's overall look, feel, and marketing. Game design and digital art. Knowing how to use Photoshop and Illustrator will help you create UI elements, textures, and in-game assets. Even if you're not an artist, basic graphic design knowledge will make your game look way more polished. Video editing and marketing. If you want people to actually play your game eventually, you'll need to market it. Learning how to use Premiere Pro or any video editing software will make it much easier to create trailers and promotional content, or, like me, start a YouTube channel to promote your game. Color theory and visual design. A good-looking game isn't just about high-quality assets, it's about how you use colors. Understanding color theory will help you create environments that feel right and evoke the emotions you want the players to experience. And 3D modeling. Even if you're not a 3D artist, learning the basics of Blender will be a game changer. I started from nothing, and in just a few months, I made all the low-poly assets for Runes of the Abyss myself. It's easier than you think, and it gives you so much creative freedom. So, to recap all that, my fourth tip is to, obviously, develop supporting skills. People think you need to be a coding genius to make a game. You don't. I started with zero experience, zero programming knowledge, and zero clue what I was doing. But what I did have was persistence. I spent years learning Unreal Engine, breaking things, fixing them, and repeating the process. And if you do that, if you stay curious, start small, learn by doing, and keep improving, you will make a game. So if you're thinking about it, stop waiting, just download a game engine, open up a tutorial like make a forest in Unreal Engine 5 or something like that, and just start. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. If you found this helpful, make sure to like and subscribe to help me out. I've got more game design content coming your way. Until next time, I'll see you in the next one.